Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
In financial news, stocks advanced modestly as investors found comfort in the European banking sector, offsetting mixed signals on the domestic economy from the White House and the Federal Reserve. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 46 points, or 0.45%, to 10,387. The S&P 500 index advanced 7 points to 1,098, while the Nasdaq Composite added 19 points to 2,228. Financial stocks were the best performing sector after encouraging developments in Europe's banking sector helped clear a source of uncertainty for the markets. The Portuguese government found solid demand for its sovereign debt, while Ireland said it would split the troubled Anglo-Irish Bank into two banks to staunch its financial sector's woes, a day after it extended government guarantees for its troubled banks. JP Morgan Chase rose 2.2%, Bank of America gained 1.2%, and Goldman Sachs added 1.6%. In U.S. news, President Barack Obama stood firm in opposition to a Republican push to extend Bush-era tax cuts for the rich, but stopped short of threatening to veto such a measure if passed by Congress. Obama said in an ABC News interview there are a whole bunch of better ways that we could spend the money. And when pressed twice whether he would use his veto power to block such a move, he did not directly answer the question. Obama, fighting to keep Democrats in charge of Congress, reiterated his view that the United States could not afford to extend tax cuts for wealthy Americans enacted under former President George W. Bush and set to expire at the end of this year. The issue has become a hot-button topic in a congressional election year. John Boehner, the Republican leader in the House of Representatives, called for a 2-year freeze on all current U.S. tax rates, which would cover the middle class as well as the rich. Obama has made clear that he would not support such a blanket freeze, but says his administration is ready to extend tax cuts for families making less than $250,000 a year. With the unemployment rate at 9.6% and the economic recovery sputtering, Obama's Democrats are struggling to keep control of Congress in the November elections. In international news, U.S. Marines have boarded and seized a vessel hijacked by pirates off the coast of Somalia. A group of 24 Marines swooped on the German-owned Magellan Star and took control of the ship from 9 pirates who had captured it. There were no casualties during the pre-dawn raid. Control of the vessel has been returned to the crew, who were unhurt after they managed to seal themselves in a safe compartment when the pirates struck. Lieutenant John Fage of the U.S. Fifth Fleet said the operation took about an hour and there were no injuries among the Marines. U.S. warships are part of the 25-nation mission protecting merchant vessels from pirate attacks off the coast of Somalia and into the Gulf of Aden. The task force often opens fire on suspected pirates, but boarding raids are very rare.
Ever wish you had sonic hearing? Well, now you can with the amazing Silver Sonic XL from Bell & Howell. It's lightweight and small, just like a cell phone ear adapter. The flexible ear mount easily adjusts to fit all ear shapes and sizes, and the molded ear tip lets it fit you comfortably. Best of all, it looks like a cell phone ear adapter. The Silver Sonic XL amplifies sounds up to 50 decibels, so you can easily keep track of your kids at play. And it picks up sounds from more than 30 yards away, so no one will know you have sonic hearing.
Her body is amazing. I wish I could look like that.
The Bell & Howell Silver Sonic XL is yours for only $19.95. But wait, when you call, ask about our deluxe model upgrade that's fully rechargeable and comes with its own charger. Get Silver Sonic XL now and start hearing things you've never heard before. Call now.
To order your Silver Sonic XL, call 1-800-230-7100 or send $19.95 plus shipping to the address on your screen. But for quicker service, call 1-800-230-7100.
In health news, daily tablets of large doses of B vitamins can halve the rate of brain shrinkage in elderly people with memory problems and may slow their progression towards dementia. Scientists from Oxford University said their 2-year clinical trial was the largest to date into the effects of B vitamins on so-called mild cognitive impairment, a major risk factor for Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. Experts commenting on the findings said that there were important and called for larger, longer, full-scale clinical trials to see if the safety and effectiveness of B vitamins in the prevention of neurodegenerative conditions could be confirmed. David Smith of Oxford's Department of Pharmacology, who co-led the trial, said this is a very dramatic and striking result. It's much more than we could have predicted. It is our hope that this simple and safe treatment will delay development of Alzheimer's in many people who suffer from mild memory problems. Mild cognitive impairment affects around 16% of people aged over 70 worldwide and is characterized by slight problems with memory loss, language, or other mental functions. MCI does not usually interfere with daily life, but around 50% of people diagnosed with it go on to develop the far more severe Alzheimer's disease within 5 years. Alzheimer's is a mind-wasting disease for which there are few treatments and no cure, and which affects 25 million people around the world. Smith and colleagues conducted a 2-year trial with 168 volunteers with MCI who were given either a vitamin pill containing very high doses of folic acid, vitamin B6, and vitamin B12, or a dummy pill. The B vitamins are known to control levels of amino acids in the blood, and high levels of amino acid are linked to an increased risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Brain scans were taken at the beginning and end of the trial to monitor the rate of brain shrinkage. The results showed that on average, the brains of those taking the vitamin treatment shrank at a rate of 0.76% a year, while those taking the dummy pill had an average brain shrinkage of 1.08%. In tech news, Apple has opened up the App Store reviews process, dropping its harsh restriction on the tools developers are allowed to use and at the same time actually publishing the App Store review guidelines, a previously secret set of rules that governed whether or not your app would be approved. Apple did not specifically mention Adobe, but the changes seem to mean that you can use Flash to develop your apps and then compile them to work on the iPhone or iPad with a tool called Adobe Packager. This could be good for publishers, including Condé Nast, owner of Wired, which use Adobe's Creative Suite to make print magazines and would now be able to easily convert them into digital versions instead of recreating them from scratch in the only handful of coding languages that Apple has allowed. To be clear, this doesn't mean that Flash is coming to the iOS as a plug-in. You still won't be able to view Flash content on your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch. The change in Apple's policy just means that developers can use third-party tools such as Flash to create apps sold through the App Store, and transparent guidelines will go a long way into making the iOS a better place for developers. Previously, you wouldn't know if you had broken a rule until your app was rejected, and if your app had taken months and tens of thousands of dollars to develop, then you were pretty much out of luck. This uncertainty has kept a lot of professional and talented developers out of the store and caused the rise of quick-to-write fart applications. In fact, the point I have heard spoken over and over is that developers don't mind what the rules are as long as they know about them. In green news, according to a new report from the International Union for Conservation of Nature, a 5-year-old study involving 200 scientists has found that the flora and fauna of Africa's freshwaterways are threatened with extinction thanks to 4 main factors: agriculture, water abstraction, dams, and invasive species. In all, 21% of the freshwater species are at risk, a huge number that turns right around to threaten the culprits. The livelihood of millions of humans are put to risk with such a loss. Despite the dire news, the report is an important one. It is the most comprehensive assessment of its kind thus far and can be put to use by decision makers who need to make changes about how Africa's water is being used. Around the Great Lakes of Africa, fish provide the main source of protein and livelihoods for many of the country's poorest people. The livelihoods of an estimated 7.5 million people in sub-Saharan Africa depends on inland fisheries. This new data will be invaluable in helping to safeguard these fisheries, freshwater supplies, and the many other associated resources. The ICUN report has helped to identify which areas are most in need of conservation efforts. Lake Burambi in Cameroon has 11 highly threatened species of fish that are at risk not from overfishing but from deforestation. Deforestation increases the risk of large levels of carbon dioxide being released from deep within the lake, a release which will suffocate the fish. Meanwhile, in the Congo River, another 11 species of mollusk are threatened with pollution from upstream, which means that the stretch of the river where they live will lose a vital filtering system if the mollusks disappear.
Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.